So today's session is being organized by the International Cooperative Alliance, Asia and Pacific Committee on Women. And our committee is 25 years old. We have members from almost 15 countries now in the Asia Pacific region. Over 30 individual members are there who represent cooperative national apexes, sectoral federations, etc. This session is being organized in partnership with the Sleepwell Foundation, which is based in India. And in today's session, specifically, we will be focusing on stress and anger management. Let me give you all a brief background about the Sleepwell Foundation. The Sleepwell Foundation is the CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility arm of the Sheela Foam Limited, and it is registered as a not-for-profit organization in India. They are the makers of the most trusted wellness brand, Sleepwell and Kurlon. The Sleepwell Foundation.
That's mattress. Sorry, Simran, that's mattress brand.
They are a mattress brand, Sleepwell and Kurlon. And the foundation has been actively working in the areas of emotional wellness and skill development through its innovative and dynamic programs across India. The emotional wellness initiative focus on raising awareness about proactive emotional well-being and promoting preventive health care. Through their workshops, they aim to help people reduce their stress, anxiety, and depression and increase their confidence and productivity. And all their workshops are conducted by expert counselors. The initiatives contribute to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 3, which is promoting good health and well-being for everybody. The comprehensive approach has yielded positive outcomes, significantly enhancing people's well-being and that of the society as a whole. Today, we are honored to have two expert counselors with us. Ms. Neelam Agarwal. She is a seasoned counselor with 14 years of dedicated experience in the field of mental and emotional wellness. Throughout her career, she has helped individuals navigate a wide range of challenges, ranging from interpersonal conflicts, marital issues, to extreme anxiety and suicidal thoughts. Her passion lies in supporting people in their journey towards better mental health and emotional balance. Our second speaker, a trainer for today, is Ms. Parul Khanna Parashar. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from one of the most reputed colleges in India, Lady Shri Ram College, and has a master's degree in applied psychology from University of Delhi and MSc in social and organizational psychology from the London School of Economics. She is a registered psychologist certified by the Rehabilitation Council of India, which is a statutory body that regulates and monitors mental health services. Ms. Parul has extensive experience of counseling individuals with concerns such as relationship issues, life events such as bereavement, divorce, stress, deep-rooted inadequacy, anxiety, depression, etc. It is our pleasure and honor to welcome both these trainers today. And I would like to share this on behalf of our committee that all our members, all our women members across countries are very much interested in this topic on an everyday basis. Everybody goes through this. So this is a very well needed, I think, topic. And I would now request our trainers to take over and please let me know when I should be sharing your presentation. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Simran. And now officially, good morning, everyone. I would just like to start by saying that when it comes to physical wellness, I think all of us know how to take care of ourselves. We know that, okay, when we fall sick or we have to have healthy food or what we need to take care of our diet, exercise, or otherwise go to the doctor. But when it comes to emotions, when it comes to emotional well-being, somewhere, right from the, while we were growing up, we haven't been taught about how to take care of our emotions. What if I get hurt? What if I get hurt emotionally? What if I, feel angry towards someone? What if I'm stressed? What do I need to do? So today, in this, I would say, umbrella of emotional wellness, today me and Parul, we are going to bring about this topic of stress and anger management. And I'm sure all of us today, and especially all of you who are holding such important roles in your life, and leading those teams and reaching out to so many women, you also must be experiencing stress in your lives. Yeah, so we would be talking about stress and anger management. And as Simran said, this workshop is going to be for 1.5 hours. 1 hour, we'll talk about, what we want to say regarding stress and anger, with some activities, some role plays, and the next half an hour, we have kept it for question answers, for any questions that comes to your mind. So one thing I would like to say to everyone is, during this presentation, of course, I want you all to be interactive through the chat box, or through, maybe you can unmute at some point and just say your answer. But any questions, which require more pondering, you can write it down, and we can take it up during that half an hour slot, right? And yeah, respect for self as well as respect for others. So when I say respect for self, I mean that, whatever you comes to your mind, and be very mindful about what you want to share, because it is an open forum, and something that, that you can contain it. That would be the thing, that if, to respect yourself while you share something very personal. And respect for others, when I say, I mean, confidentiality of keeping it within the group. So that would help us, all of us, to open up. And yeah, interactive for sure, through the chat box, through unmuting yourself. We would love to know about what you think about the topic, and what you think about whatever we are discussing, right? And so yeah, so to come to stress, as women or as any other person, we hold multiple roles in our lives, right? As an entrepreneur, as a parent, as a wife, as a sister, as a sibling. And all these roles come with certain expectations or responsibilities. And in doing so, a lot of times we face stress. Yeah. And sometimes there could be a good stress, which is very motivating, which is invigorating, and, it makes us do something. For example, I was very stressed today that, okay, I have a presentation, and that stress made me do everything on time, check my laptop, all of that. And I was very proactive. So that was a good stress. But a lot of times the stress could have a very negative impact on us. And so today, that's the reason we are talking about stress, that how stress plays a part in our lives and how we can manage it better. Another topic that we are going to touch upon is, something related to stress, which is anger. And anger, though normal, how normal as an emotion it can be, yet how it is looked at, how it comes up in different ways. Our own perception of anger is something that we can look into, and how we can manage it better is what we will talk about as we go along. Yeah. So Simran, you can put the first slide here. Yeah, so stress, yeah, I've already spoken about that, how, stress, yeah, this is the slide I was talking about. So this is a very interesting slide that we can see, and it's called the Dodson Law of Performance. So from this slide, a lot of times it is for us to know that where do we fall in this slide. So when we go to the lower part, right, when we see the calm word here, it says that when there is very low stress, when there is not much pressure on us, then it impacts our performance. Then we are not motivated enough. Then we don't feel very, excited to do something. And when we don't feel all of that, we don't perform. Yeah, for example, supposedly a child, student, if he doesn't have any pressure during the exams, of himself, of his teachers, of how would he perform, what is the outcome of, or maybe from his peers or parents, then how do you think, the child will perform? What do you think? Will he be able to perform well? I don't think so. Somewhere he will not perform well. So if the stress is very low, our performance really gets impacted. And then we come to this another, the top part, which is the eustress. So eustress is the space where there is moderate amount of stress, and we are very motivated and to work towards it. We feel pressure. There is a pressure, but there is a pressure that we can handle, and for which we align ourselves towards it. We try to work on it. So that's a good stress, and this stress makes us perform better, makes us perform a level higher than what we expect ourselves to do. So, here I would give an example of a woman who has a presentation just coming in a week's time. And that presentation is very important for her. It would actually open up a lot of other opportunities for her. So for her, then she would work towards it. She would, make her presentation well. She would practice it so that her performance rises up. And that's a good stress, which we call a eustress. And the last one, which is a distress. This again, when there is no connection between between the performance, our abilities, and the pressure that we have from outside. If the pressure is a lot, if there is too much that I'm putting on my platter, whereas my ability to handle is it much lesser, then I would be in this space. So here the example could be, I remember myself that, when there was a lot on my platter where I was handling my house, my family, again, the work which I was, in my professional space, there was a lot. And that led to distress, and that led to very low performance, leading to, restlessness and a lot of other impacts, which we would talk about as we go by. So for all of you, I think this table, you can refer to this table if you, and where are you right now? Whether you are in eustress, whether, you are very not motivated enough, or the stress levels have really gone up, leading to distress. Yeah. So this could be a good, I would say, a scale to measure yourself. So Simran, the next slide. Yeah, even before, Simran, can we go to the previous slide? I would just like to, yeah. So now this question is for all of you. What do you think? The stress, does it impact us? Does it impact us? Can you please answer in your chat box? Does it impact us, and in what ways? Okay, yeah. Absolutely, it does impact us. And okay, so if I were to tell you physically, how does stress impact us, or maybe impact you? Each one of you, can you say about how does it impact you physically? Simran, you can put that slide. Yeah. So can you point out for all of? Okay, creates headache. Hermes said it creates headache, sleeplessness. Yeah. And what else? What else happens when we feel stressed? What has been our personal stomach ache? Absolutely, that's me. Because I feel a lot of stomach ache. And what else? Tense muscles, increased blood pressure. Absolutely. We can see so many of these here, when, in this diagram also, how our immune system gets weak, sleep goes for a toss, there is unexplained pains, aches, fertility issues, when we are like women, fertility issues happens. Yeah, I get multiple symptoms, absolutely. And again, the periods, missed periods, which is a very big sign, and, very common sign for women when they are stressed, their periods, their timeline just, goes haywire. For a lot of people, the heartburn happens. For a lot of people, palpitations happen, pounding heart. And for some, there's a very low sex drive. So these are the physical symptoms that we all face. Apart from the physical symptoms, there is also a lot of behavioral symptoms. Do we all agree that in behavior also our behavior changes with stress? Do you all agree with that? And what is that behavior change could happen? What is the change of behavior that happens? So I can tell for me that, there's a lot of outburst. Suddenly for no reason, I'm angry. Yeah, anger, absolutely. And what else? Emotional, yeah, emotional. And we don't even know why. And there's a lot of overthinking that happens. Anyone feels that? Like I overthink a lot when I'm stressed, or it's sometimes withdrawn. I do feel very withdrawn. I stop talking to anyone. I said, okay, I just go to my room and I'm quiet. So that also happens. Sometimes it's a lot of losing interest in what I like to do. Do you all also feel that? Because you might be want in your regular routine, has a hobby, has something to look forward to. Low esteem, absolutely. That is there. And then you lose your interest towards that hobby. You don't want to take it forward. You just say that, okay, let it be, I don't want to continue. So there is a lot of impact that happens. And I would say emotionally, there's a lot of anxiety that comes, and that anxiety can be in different forms. Sometimes it could be, as I said, a sudden outburst, or it could be withdrawn, or it could be overthinking. So anxiety is something that we all experience when there is stress. Yeah. So can we go to the next slide, Simran? That's the impact of stress. So now, so this is a very interesting scale, and this has been made by two very famous psychiatrists called Holmes and Rahe. It was Thomas Holmes and Richard Rahe who had created this, stress inventory to understand that how life events, impact our stress levels. So here, when you see that, the death of a spouse is at the highest, where they have given a number to it, so that they have put 200. Divorce is 73. Again, a separation from your partner could be 65. And not only, I would say stressful events, also good events in our life. For example, marriage, which could be a happy event, or maybe a promotion. That also, I can see here, that also brings about a lot of stress. Sometimes a retirement from work, I can see this at 45, or maybe pregnancy. Imagine pregnancy can be so stressful. Can anyone, share their experience about how pregnancy or marriage, or maybe, sometimes a breakup, or maybe retirement from work or promotion has actually led to immense stress? Yeah. So this scale also helps us, it has been used by several mental health professionals, or maybe, people working in this field, to understand or to give them a overview of how the event must have impacted the person and the stress levels. And therefore, accordingly, the treatment was actually, maybe framed, or maybe, they had written a prescription according to this scale. So this is a very interesting scale to see that, what all changes in our life can impact us at such a huge level. Yeah. So Simran, can we go to the next slide? No, and another slide. Yeah, next one. Yeah. So here again, I would like to welcome all of you to tell me, what are the unhealthy ways of coping stress? What are the unhealthy ways you can think of coping stress? And especially with you, what do you do? Like, what do you do when you are very stressed, and which is not healthy, that you sometimes tend to do? What would that be? Can you share that in the chat box? Okay, you can unmute yourself and share. Eating junk food, that goes without saying. Going shopping, stress eating, yes. Absolutely. And what else? Lots of chocolate. Yeah. Sugar rush. Sometimes we do need that sugar rush when we are very stressed, and that's not good for our bodies. And what else? Drinking coffee. Okay. And what else do we see around, or do we do ourselves to cope with this unhealthy ways of coping? How about how about social media these days? My way is also to just keep watching. I sleep a lot. Okay. For me, it's a binge watching. Keep it bottled up. Watching Netflix. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Simran, can you put those pointers for us so that we can have a look? So, Simran, can you put the pointers for us? Can you, I think, click one more time so that we'll get the slide? Smoking, drinking too much, overeating and undereating. So many of you have said zoning out for hours in front of Netflix or TV, computer, social media access. I think that's huge, and that's so many of us too. uh, Withdrawing socially. What we like to do, we don't even want to meet people. We just withdraw ourselves in our own cocoon. um, Using pills and drugs. A lot of times, it's seen nowadays where, drugs are happening, people are taking pills to relax themselves, and and that can be a very unhealthy way of coping. Sleeping too much also can be very unhealthy, though sleeping in, for a moderate time is good, but sleeping too much can impact a lot in our lives. Procrastinating. Procrastinating can impact our work, can impact in so many areas of our life, like relationship, or maybe hamper our work, or maybe our in our day-to-day life. Avoidance of any kind, avoiding of meeting people, avoiding of attending some important occasions, avoidance of every possible thing is a lot of times we all do. And aggressive behaviors. Sometimes we don't even realize that this is stress which is playing up, and suddenly I think that why have I become so loud? Why am I screaming? And it could be that there is a lot of stress that is happening. Yeah. So one of these unhealthy ways of coping can be anger too, and that is what Parul will take us through from the next slide. So over to you, Parul.
Thank you, Neela. Thank you. I think that was very informative. So, what causes anger? I think Neelam's already spoken about anger as one of the feelings that comes out when we are stressed. But I think it would be interesting for people on the group to share what makes them angry. What is it? Like I get very angry when somebody is rude to me. When maybe I'm hurt and disappointed, but I actually see red, I feel rage. So that really rudeness of somebody when I'm being polite makes me very, very angry. My teenage daughter slamming the door sometimes, that makes me angry. So I think it would be interesting if this group could also share with us what makes you angry. Yes, when deadlines are not met in the workplace. And I think what's even worse is when we are not even told, when nobody escalates and suddenly you realize the deadline is gone. Lies and deceit, absolutely. I mean, it's very, very, it is something that would make me angry too, somebody close lying to me. Anything else? Okay. So, Simran, can we go to the next slide, please? So I think when we shared what makes us angry. And what's interesting is that anger is like an iceberg. So if we've seen an iceberg, there's what we see from the outside, which is anger. And then there is something beneath the surface. And actually, under anger, there's a lot of other feelings that are going out that we are experiencing as anger. Somebody said lies and deceit. I said rudeness or feeling hurt. Actually, even embarrassment. Absolutely, somebody disappointing us. They promised us something. Like if a friend says that she'll do something for me and then she backs out, I'm actually very disappointed, but that makes me angry. If I'm worried about my mother's health, it could be coming out as anger. Or if I'm just tired at the end of a long working day, I'm home, I want to rest, and then there are certain demands made of me to maybe make some food, or I get a call from work, I'm just exhausted. But that could make someone very angry. You know, you are a friend, you have a friend, and you then find out that she's actually talking about you not very favorably to others. That would make a person feel rejected. But what comes out is actually a lot of anger. So behind every feeling of anger, there is a lot of other stuff that we might be going through. So it would be interesting every time. Of course, we can't do this every time, but later, once that anger has passed, it would be interesting to actually think about what made me angry. And it could be any of these feelings, actually, when you think about it for yourself. Simran, can we go to the next slide? So there are a lot of myths, or maybe we think they're facts. There are a lot of perceptions we have about anger. So could you share, please, what you think in popular culture people feel about anger? Is it good? Is it bad? Are men more angry? Are women more angry? Are poor people more angry? And is it good to show anger? So what is your perception about anger in this way? I think it would be interesting for me to know. Anything. Okay, let me start. Is anger good? No? Okay. Okay. So anger is a good motivator to achieve difficult things. Okay. What else? Is it men are more angry or women are more angry? Is there any gender behind anger? Okay. So you harm yourself more if you're angry. Okay. Angry men are acceptable. Well said, Preeti. But anger in women is not acceptable somewhere. No gender. It's situational or for both. Okay. Okay. And is it good to suppress anger? No. Okay. No. A lot of us are saying no. For women, it's a norm. Okay. So for women, it's a norm to suppress anger, or it's an expectation maybe? No. Okay. So a lot of us are saying that no, it's not good to suppress anger. But one of us said that as a woman, it is somewhere accepted that you will not show your anger. Okay. So, Simran, could you just show all the slides? I mean, all the points, please. So anger is always bad. Actually, no, the one before that, please. Anger is actually, it's a feeling. There's no good or bad. It's a feeling. It's a very natural feeling. But of course, what has got a bad reputation is the loudness that is associated with anger. So anger also has some positive connotations, because I think, like one of you said, it is a motivator also. It could be telling me what I don't like about someone. It could be telling me how I need to relook at a relationship. It could be telling me what I don't like about myself too. So anger actually could have some positive connotations. It could have serve a function in our lives. But yes, the way we express it could have a bad reputation. So in India, I don't know if, I mean, some of you are from here. For example, we often see a lot of road rage these days. Two people will be driving their cars, and if they bump against each other and one person's car is more severely damaged, there'll be some episodes where they'll come out, they'll start shouting at each other. They might sometimes even have to be separated. They're so angry. So that kind of stuff gets a very bad reputation for anger. But actually, anger as a feeling is a very normal feeling. Then venting anger is always helpful. What do you think? Do you think it's always helpful to vent anger? Some reactions? Okay, so maybe you're thinking, but venting anger, yes, sometimes it is okay, sometimes it is helpful. It gives an insight into what you are feeling to another person. It makes you feel lighter, it makes you feel understood. But depending on the forum, if I am in a board meeting or if I am in a big family gathering, I am in my child's school and the school has complained about my child. In such a situation, maybe venting may not be very helpful. So while it may be okay to feel angry with my child or with the teacher, but can I use that forum to just vent it out? Maybe not. So the setting I am in is also very important to see when I am sharing my anger. But of course, if I'm venting sometimes to my spouse, to my child, to a friend, then it can be very healthy as well, depending on the language I use, of course. Can you control your anger? Very difficult. Okay. So anger is a feeling. It's a normal feeling. You will feel angry at some time or the other. But again, how you express your anger is what you can decide upon or you can make a choice upon. Difficult, yes. It is difficult. It is difficult to control your anger. And sometimes you can't control it because it's a feeling. It's like you're happy, like you're sad. Um, all these are feelings. Being excited is a feeling, but some of these feelings have a good reputation. And something like anger somehow has a bad reputation in society. But to say that, yes, you can't control that feeling of anger, but how you express that anger is a choice that you could probably make and that you can control. So, for example, if I'm angry with my child and she has her friends over, I can't help but feel angry because she's left her room in a mess. So I can't help feel angry, but can I shout at her in front of her friends? Maybe not, because how would that affect that relationship? So anger as a feeling, okay. How I express anger, again, how I control it appropriately is something that I can choose to do. If you ignore anger, it will go away on its own. True, false? So I'm really angry, let's say at a friend because she's let me down very badly. I had expected that I'm going through a rough time in my life. I've lost my job and I'm expecting support from her. But instead of supporting me, being available for me, she is making plans with other friends or she is very involved in her own life. So if I ignore this anger, but she's one of my closest friends, if I ignore this anger, will it go away on its own? What are your thoughts? Absolutely. It will not go away because while I may not express it to her, but there's a chance that if I do not deal with my anger in a healthy way, there is a chance that I will stop talking to her. I will withdraw from her. I will start complaining about her to other people. I will start being not very polite to her. So while I may want to ignore it, but if I don't cope with it in a healthy way, it will definitely affect the relationship and it will not just go away. I think well said, somebody said that it will resurface later. Then again, in connection, suppressing anger is the best way to deal with it. Yes, sometimes we have to suppress that anger because of the situation we are in, but is it the best way to deal with it? So if I go back to the child example, if I've just shouted at my child, I mean, if I've been angry with my child and then her friends go away, at that point, I might have to suppress in front of her friends. But when the friends go away, it would help me to have a conversation with my daughter about how angry I felt when she left her room in a mess, and about how I am always cleaning up after her. So while I did not went out in front of her friends, I did not ignore it either. I kind of communicated it to her so that she may or may not change in her way of keeping her room, but I felt lighter. Only aggressive people get angry. True or false? Can anybody get angry, or is it the right of only aggressive people? False. Yes. So anger is a very normal human emotion. Everybody feels angry. I get very surprised when I sometimes meet people who say, I never get angry. Because when you actually dig beneath the surface, they've just very uncomfortable with saying that I get angry. But maybe they are now feeling like they are victims of the world. Everybody lets them down. They are ill-treated by everybody. So it comes out like that. But just because they're quiet and they don't express it as anger doesn't mean they're not angry. So it's not true that only aggressive people get angry. So anger is always directed at someone. True or false? False. False. So actually, I can be very angry at myself too. Sometimes we have clients coming to us who are in difficult marital situations. And when you dig deep, you find out and you explore further, there's sometimes the person has a lot of anger at themselves for not taking a stand for themselves when they were younger, when they were earning, when they could have chosen some other life path. So while they're angry at their spouse, but they're actually a lot of anger at themselves too. Also, if I were to see, that's a bigger problem. But if I were to see day to day also, very often I'm angry at myself for some of my own behaviors, like procrastination, like spending too much time watching television. So need not be anger, of course, can be at another person, but quite often it can be within oneself, at oneself too. Then anger is a fixed personality trait. True or false? False. Very true. I mean, yeah, it's not a fixed personality trait. We all can feel angry. It is not, again, the right of only some person or some people, but it's again how they've learned to express the anger, which is a part of how they may have been raised, what they have learned in their life, what has been enabled in their life. But we all have anger within us at some point or the other. So we cannot say that it is a fixed personality trait. And the way we learn to express it, we can learn to also work on it with a lot of sort of introspection, with a lot of self-awareness. We can learn to change how we express our anger as well. Then does anger always lead to aggression? I think we talked about it earlier as well, that anger is a feeling, very normal, healthy feeling, but does it always need to come out as aggression? Yes. So Naveen is saying no, it need not always come out as aggression. There are other ways of expressing anger too, which we spoke about earlier. And only men get angry. So because this is the only women's group, I want to hear some thoughts that how are women and anger seen in society? I remember when I was growing up, I was very clearly told, out of a lot of love. I mean, I don't blame my parents, but out of a lot of love, I was told that good girls don't get angry. And I was told this a lot. Whereas my brother was told that strong boys don't cry. So very clearly it was told to us in our culture that girls don't get angry and boys don't cry. And that, of course, has repercussions in our adult lives as well. So I would be interested, very interested to know we have people from different cultures over here. We have Japan, we have India. probably other Philippines. So it will be
Malaysia also, yeah.
Malaysia. It would be very interesting to know what you all have learned about women and anger.
Yeah, because I think we have, we can spend 5 minutes on this. This is a
it would
very
be so interesting
important.
because usually
This-
Neelam and I actually get to work only in Indian groups. So
Yeah.
and it's very consistently what we hear. But
Yeah.
we are so blessed with this opportunity to be talking to you all, where we can get to learn so much new about other cultures as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can also, you can unmute yourself also and just, say what you want to say about women and anger. How is it seen in your culture? How is it seen in your society?
I think Miss Arai could tell us about Japan, how it is viewed.
I think there were quite a few ladies from Japan. So if Ms. Sarai is, yeah, that would be nice.
Yes, yes.
はい、ありがとうございます。はい。先ほど強い男の子は泣かない、可愛い女の子は
don't cry, but and girls don't get angry. That is quite true. In Japan, shall I say, it's a tradition of practice, but I think that sort of gender bias still exists. Women should be pretty and docile and compliant, not trying to express their feelings overly. So, but things are changing slowly. But you have said true is also true in Japan.
So interesting that it's the same between India and Japan, that women who are seen as angry are seen as difficult, or are seen as something in them is not okay. They need to change. And sometimes we also see that the same women, it's acceptable to for a man to be angry in a workplace and he's seen as very powerful. But when anger is expressed by a woman, people start saying, oh, she's unstable, she's neurotic. All kinds of terms are given to a woman, angry woman in the workplace, and the trigger might be the same. Maybe the person is angry because the team did not meet the deadline, or the team did not finish the work they were meant to. But the way people are termed, because of how we are all socialized, is that it's the man is exerting power and the woman is displaying unstableness. So interesting. It would be very nice to hear from others as well in the group.
Miss Nuriza, also you could share from Ankasa, Malaysia, your experiences.
So
whenever we get angry, we go back to our way of praying and go back to our reciting Quran, so that we can really subside our anger. Or sometimes I used to, for myself, I used to talk to my close friend whatever I feel and why, whatever anger that make by someone to me. That is one way of getting out of this problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
how interesting. How interesting. Anybody else would like to share? So we heard from Neelam and myself from India. We heard from Japan. We heard from Malaysia. Is there any other person from any other country who would like to share what their experience with anger has been, how anger has been socialized to them in their country?
I think Miss Omis is there.
Yes, I think Miss
Probably.
Hermes has been very active on our chat box. It would be nice to hear
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For women, it's sometimes it's the comment when we get angry is because of hormones or for whatever reasons. But for the men in the Philippines, there are instances that for them to express their anger, they need to drink, and then that's the time they express, and sometimes it results to violence. That's why
Hmm.
sometimes women tend to not uh, uh, prevent anger in men because they are afraid that the men will become violent.
Violent. Yeah. I think it's quite common in India as well that especially if the husband has had alcohol, then the wife and the children tend to hide themselves, and they tend to, so that they do not get beaten up, or they do not get hurt. But at the same time, women also express violence because with their words, with on their children, on the ones who are weaker than them, sometimes elderly people. So anger, which
And
is not,
sometimes, yeah, and sometimes domestic help also, which I
yeah.
see. Anger does come out in different forms where they feel more acceptable because that's what it is. Yeah.
So it's not anger, of course, in men, again, is associated with violence, but women can be violent with their words too. We've seen that. We've done it ourselves. Sometimes our words can cause more damage than
Yeah. Yeah.
even somebody hitting us.
Yeah, yeah. So true, Parul. Parul has brought a very important point about, when comes to men, the violence could be like, in form of voice or being very loud. But women also can equally be violent or angry with their words. And, that also can be very, it can impact the other person. So here, when we are talking about, we are not biased on one gender. We are talking about all genders, yes. But yes, anger is something, a normal emotion, which Parul over and again has, stated. And it is always good to look at that emotion as a normal emotion. How we deal with it could be different. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
Thank you,
continue,
Neela.
Parul.
Yeah. So coming back to our presentation, Simran. Yeah, so we've gone through all the myths about anger, and we hope, like Neelam said, that the group is clear that anger is a normal emotion. Anger has to be dealt with in a healthy way. Anger can be with oneself also, it need not be with another person. And the way we express anger with self-awareness and a lot of work, we can change that way if it's very hurtful to others. So moving on to the next slide. So types of anger. Aggressive, I think we've already spoken about. Passive aggressive is actually when a person is feeling angry, but is not expressing it directly, is expressing it very indirectly. Maybe by blaming, maybe by taunting, maybe by ignoring. So the anger is coming across. The person thinks they're not showing anger, but it's coming across. And assertive is, of course, when I am able to express my anger, the reasons behind it, and in a calm and in a controlled way. But I'm able to say everything that is, verbalize everything that is making me angry. Okay, so this is the time when Neelam and I will do a role play. And actually, Simran would request you to go back to the earlier slide because we want people to be able to guess what the form of.
Yeah, Parul, do you want her to pin both of us so that, the people can
Yes.
see? Yeah.
Yes.
Simran, can you do that? Can you pin both of us so that all of them can see us when we are doing a role play?
So we will do a role play for all these three situations, but we want you all to guess, the group to guess which one the situation is actually. Simran, would you know how to pin?
I have pinned you both, but I
Hmm.
will to stop sharing the screen so that only
Okay, that's fine.
That's
fine.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, so should we start?
Yeah. So number one, right? This is number one we
Yeah,
are doing.
yeah. So let's, Neelam, I'm really angry with you, yeah. How much, why is it that I'm left to do all the work and I've not seen you in the last so many days? I'm really, I don't know, yeah. This is not fair. This is not fair.
Calm down, Parul. What has happened? What's gone wrong? What has happened? That I did not do anything. I did my work. I think I've contributed. I think I've
No,
done.
I mean, everything I feel I have done, you have showed up on the last day. This is not on. This is just not on.
Whatever you feel like.
So, group, which one is this? Which form, which type of anger is this, you think?
Please comment on the chat boxes, or
Chat
you
box,
can.
yeah. Okay, yes. Somebody said aggressive. Preeti said, yeah. Amit said aggressive, yes. I think pretty evident from the loud body language, or my loud body language, my tone, my eyes flaring, my nose flaring, pretty easy to identify that I was being quite aggressive. And okay, so should we do the next one?
Yeah. So let's start. Yeah.
So, hi
Oh,
Neelam,
so-
how are you?
Oh, so finally you have come. You've got that time. Oh, thank God. But anyway, I'm done with my work. Whatever you had to contribute, I can do everything on my own. I can manage. I can do everything on my own. I don't even bother to think at, okay, I need to call you or some, because people are busy these days. You know what? They're really busy. So
Neelam, what happened? I didn't hear from you, and everything okay?
yeah, everything is okay. What would happen to me? I am completely fine. And I was busy with my work. If people had the time, if people wanted to come and contribute, it's fair enough. Otherwise, whatever,
Neelam, who is people? You're talking to me. Something's happened.
No, nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. And people, I mean that, yeah, maybe you or maybe someone else, everybody's so busy, not even bothering to see that what other must be facing the struggle. But yeah, thank God I can manage everything on my own and I don't have to be dependent on other people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
So what was
yeah.
this? What kind of anger was this?
Could you tell she's angry? Could you tell that Neelam is angry? So
Was I
there was
angry?
anger. It was clear that she was angry, but she
Yeah.
was not saying it directly. She was saying it
Passive
very
aggressive.
indirectly in a passive aggressive way that people are busy, no one has
Yeah.
time. Thank God I've completed everything on my own. I really don't need anyone. So it's very clear to me and to all of you that Neelam is angry, but
Yeah.
she is not saying it directly. She thinks that by saying it in this way, she will not appear angry, maybe, or she's
Yeah.
not learned how to say it directly.
Yeah, and that's what Parul has said. Now, when people say that I don't get angry, this is the way they get angry, right? So sometimes passive is a very lot of times we see people
Especially
passively
with
angry.
women, especially
Yeah.
with women, because we have not learned, we have not got got strokes for showing anger in a direct way. We learn how to be angry, and in India, sometimes I don't know how it's in other cultures, but sometimes a mother-in-law will have this reputation for expressing her anger in this way, which is she will not be able to tell her daughter-in-law or her son that she's hurt about something, but she wants to be polite. She wants to maintain a relationship, yet she wants to convey something. And this is often a way that we have seen mother-in-laws depicting their anger or showing that anger indirectly, because they don't know how to. They've not learned better.
Yeah. And I think, Parul, this is across cultures. I
I
think
don't know. It would be the people from Japan, Philippines,
Yeah.
Malaysia. Is this
I can
how
see
some
every,
mother-in-laws?
yeah. Yeah. I can see everybody agreeing to us. Yeah.
So if we
Yeah.
are mother-in-laws, if and when, and if some of us are mother-in-laws, and then even if you think you're not showing anger, your anger is coming across.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's go to the third one.
Third one, yeah. So third one is, okay. So Neelam, I actually want to talk to you about something.
Is it, Parul? Tell me, what is it?
You know, I know that probably something's been going on with you also, but I have been feeling quite overworked lately. And I have been feeling a little unsupported, which has actually caused a lot of stress for me because, Neelam, you know, I have a small child. I have a lot of responsibilities at home. So when I end up doing most of the work, then, you know, I start feeling agitated. And you matter a lot to me, Neelam. You know, we worked together for so long, and this relationship matters to me. So I just thought that I'll tell you what I'm feeling, and I was hoping that we can figure out some way that we can do a load sharing between us. Would
Oh,
that work
Parul,
for you?
yeah, Parul, I didn't know that. And thank you for bringing this up and, talking to me about it. So I will certainly try to pitch in more from now onwards. And I'm really sorry you had to go through this.
Thank you, Neelam. That would really help me. Thank you. So what was the difference? What was the difference? Because I have been feeling angry that I am doing most of the work. Neelam matters a lot to me. Like I said, she and I have worked together for very long. So the relationship matters to me. I like a pleasant environment, but yet I have to be able to convey what I'm feeling to her, because otherwise, A, she will not know. B, there will be no changes in my life and I will get impacted. So what was this form of expressing anger? My anger and hurt was there. But what was this way of expressing anger? Yes, Rika saying
Assertive.
assertive. Yes. What was the difference you picked up? Was I able to convey what I'm going through? What was the difference in the body language? I know that we are on Zoom and it's not so easy, but what was the difference in body language between the other forms of expressing anger? Because most of what we convey is through our body language. Yeah. So I think everybody, even on Zoom, while we were not face to face, even on Zoom across the world, you all have been able to pick up both the tone, the body language, and the words conveyed my feelings, but with a lot of calmness and restraint, because the relationship also mattered to me. So, of course, if, out of the three options, I think it'll be easy for everyone to guess where possible, to be able to assertively express anger is the healthiest way.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So on to the
So-
next slide. Simran. Yeah. So stress management, I think we all know these. We know a lot about, we've read, it's popular in media, manage your stress. Stress is inevitable. We cannot, if we want to progress in life, we want to move on, we want to achieve, then we do need some healthy amount of stress in our life. And but the healthy or the the helpful ways of coping, we put on the slide. It would be interesting to know on the chat box what works for you to manage your stress. I know somebody said talking to a friend, that was one thing that was already said for months at end when going through a difficult situation, talking to a friend, of course. Other things that would be helpful that work for you. Nature, yeah. Going for walks in nature, looking at nature, it's very calming. What else? Spa, pampering myself, yes. I can share that what works for me is time management, which actually sometimes means planning in advance. Because if I have a lot of responsibilities, the more planned I am, the more at ease I feel. And sadly, it also means saying no and drawing a lot of boundaries in my life, because I cannot be at 5 different places. I cannot be 5 different people at the same time. So a lot of times I have to say no also to people who matter to me. And that's a part of me taking care of myself, but also of the relationship. Because if I were to do those things that they want me to do, but with resentment, it will impact the relationship. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Parul, for me also, saying a no, works a lot for me, where I'm able to manage my time, give my time to the things which are prioritizing basically my work and whatever I want to do in my life, which manages my stress. Yeah.
So thank you, Neelam. So over to you, Neelam, actually. I think it's important to reflect after this training about what really works as a stress management tool for you.
Yeah.
Because that is what will be real for you. It will be authentic. It will lead to some changes in life. I'm handing over to Neelam to wrap up today's training and then to talk about the Q&A.
Yeah. Thank you, Parul. So, Parul very rightly stated that for each one of you, it could be very different. Right now we have put a few things on the slide, but for each one of you, it might be something different that works. And please stick to that and maybe include 1 or 2 more, which, where people might be sharing or which might resonate with you. Right. So because therefore you could have a toolbox, as we say now, that we all have a toolbox for a physical first aid in our house, where there are bandage, there is a Dettol, there is a antiseptic, there's something to put on. So we all have a physical first aid box in our house. Similarly, can we have an emotional first aid box with us, where we keep in things that would help us when we are feeling very distressed, when we are feeling very angry, or when we are feeling very disturbed, when I'm having uncomfortable feelings about anxiety? Can I do that for myself? Can I, make that box for myself? So in that box, one of the things could be that how do I manage my stress? If I'm fond of music, can I switch to music? If I like to walk in the nature, can I include that in my week's time? Can I do that for myself? So this would really help you to actually manage that stress. And towards the end, I would like to say that, we have time, we have said again and again about how listening to your feelings, that feeling could be disturbing because it hasn't been accepted by the society. For example, anger, for example, shame, for example, jealousy, for example, it could be anxiety. What am I feeling? Can I listen to my feeling? It's not necessarily that I have to tell it to everyone, but can I listen to, yeah, Simran, can you put in the last slide, please? Yeah, can I listen to that feeling of mine? It could be positive, it could be not so positive, it could be a feeling that is not accepted by the society. But can I at least listen to that feeling? Because once I listen to it, I will acknowledge it. I would sit with it and tell myself that, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel jealousy towards that person. But how I express it can be very different. I can choose to express it in a healthier way, right? Again, these feelings are an insight for us to choose what we need to do, right? There are like roadmaps. So once I know what I'm feeling, then only I will do something about it, right? Do you all agree with that? That if I know what I'm feeling, only then I'll do something about it. So regarding doing, I would say, express any action you can take very constructively. One of the constructive actions could be expressing. Expressing could be to your friend. Expressing it could be to yourself by writing in a journal sometimes. Or, a lot of times we tell our clients that you stand in front of a mirror, and if you don't have anyone, at least express it to the mirror that I'm feeling very angry today. That also helps. So expressing it to the mirror or writing in a journal, it could be anything. Expressing releases you of that feeling, of that discomfort of the feeling. And in spite of all of that you're doing, maybe taking up a hobby, talking to a friend, doing all your bit, yet if you are unable to come to terms with that feeling, it's still troubling you, it's still impacting your work, it would be a good time to actually receive, outside help of even talking to someone, talking to a therapist, taking some professional help. If that feeling is continuously troubling you for a very, very long time. So that could be an indication that maybe you need to take one more step towards it. So expression of that feeling could be in a very constructive way. And that's what you can do, to use it in a healthier way. So that would be my, our both takeaways on what we can do for our emotional wellness is listening to our feelings and expressing our feelings in a healthier, constructive way, which works for us. Yeah. And now we are open to your questions and answers. So please feel free to, you can unmute yourself or you can put it that in your chat boxes. And if possible, me and Parul will definitely, take it up. If in case that doesn't come in the purview of it, we will get back to you later. But yeah, again, I would like to remind that, about sharing something which can be shared in the open forum and something which can be contained. Yeah. So please, we welcome you all.
Okay, one question for me.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, please, Rekha.
Okay. It just I want to know how to differentiate between the productive anger and unproductive anger. Is there any? And how to handle each type?
Okay.
Is there?
So,
yeah, thank you.
Parul, you want to take this?
Yeah, I can take it. See, anger is a feeling, Rekha. We can't label it, it's a feeling. But what we do with that anger can be productive or unproductive. So, for example, unproductive could be bottling it up, unproductive could be ignoring it, unproductive could be saying, could be withdrawing from the person that we are angry with. So, but productive could be like, as Neelam said, listen to yourself. If there is a reason that is making you feel that way, give importance to that reason, go into the details of that reason, and once you journal it, talk to yourself, once work on it for yourself, and then productively find a course of action. It could be, sometimes it's okay to even enlist a friend to help you. I remember years ago I had a problem with a friend and I was just very awkward to address that matter with her directly. So I actually requested another friend that the three of us will go for coffee, and I needed that support. And then I brought it up very tentatively and very gently. The two of us communicated the reasons for how I was feeling to my friend. So anger is a feeling. It's a normal feeling. How I use it can be productive or unproductive. Did that help you, Rika?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really helped me. Thank you.
I have two questions. So the first one being that, all of us have been working for many years, and also societally we are conditioned in a certain way to cope with anger or emotional outbursts. So we have conditioned that we will keep quiet, we will keep a poker face and whatever. But we are bottling it up inside and probably coming out in all the things that you listed. So in a day, it's not possible for us to do this. So is there some sort of a course or a method that would slowly get us out of this kind of conditioning? That's my first question. And the
Yeah,
second,
so yeah, Preeti will take just one at a time. Yeah. So regarding this first question of what you said, that since, it is how we have been, trained or aligned towards that what is right and what is not right, right? So here, as you said that in one day, it's not possible to change everything of how I respond to my anger. But at the same time, when we spoke about even being aware about it, that, oh, I'm angry, even if telling it to yourself that I'm angry and it's okay to be angry, it is half the battle won. Because it's not necessarily that at that very moment you have to be aggressive or you have to show your anger to that person, but just naming it and just being aware in your own space is giving yourself that allowance that, okay, Preeti, you can be angry and it's fine to be angry, but I can take my time to how to express it. So it's like a habit, the habit of not expressing anger has been built over the years. So it will take some time to even unlearn that, that way of how you handle anger. So unlearning it, in that unlearning it, the thing that would help you is to be aware about it, and even telling yourself and being with yourself in a supportive way in those moments is slowly, maybe you will be able to unlearn and learn your new ways of
Here, I just
how
want to add
dealing with
something,
anger.
Preeti,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sometimes avoiding conflict with others, we start a conflict within ourselves. So that's a call. If repeatedly the same situation is making someone angry and we are ignoring it or we are keeping quiet, but we are not at peace and it started a conflict within ourselves, then maybe it's time to take corrective action and find an appropriate way of dealing with that situation. If it's
yeah,
a feeling and it passes, then great. But if it leaves a residue where you've started a conflict within yourself, then the question to ask is, are you being kind to yourself? In your attempt to maintain peace, in your attempt to be kind to the other person, what is Preeti doing to Preeti? So
yeah.
that is the question that I find very helpful. That I am trying to maintain peace, but what about my own peace?
yes, that's a
And
very difficult balance to keep. And the
It is.
second is about stress. So all of us are now living in a very fast-paced world, and there is a lot of work of different types that we have to address, right? So there is actually no time to stop, pause, or think. We go from one situation to another to another. So there, and as I said, like for example, me, I like walks in the nature, but when you are always in the urban spaces, it's not possible to do that, right? So how does one sort of manage this kind of stress level? How, I mean, recognize, you don't have even time to recognize it for what it is.
yeah. So Parul, can I take this? Yeah.
Sure.
So here, Preeti, remember what Parul has said about, prioritizing your work, or what it is, what is important for you, and what is maybe lesser important. Of even though, you must be busy with a lot of things in your platter, but at the same time, when we went to that scale about eustress, calm and distress, that scale is a very important one for us to see to, that where am I right now? Is in my platter more than how much my physical ability allows me to do so, my mental ability allows me to do so. Therefore, I'm in the distress thing. Or am I in the eustress where my, the stress is moderate, and I'm able to keep that pressure, yet I'm able to perform. So that table could be a good, good thing to look into, that where am I right now? And if I'm in the distress part, what can I do, or what can I say no to, so that I can be in the eustress part? So, to gauge that where am I right now could be a good space to start from. Yeah, does it answer your question, Preeti?
Yes, yes, it does. Only thing is, I think all of us require training on how to bring distress to eustress, because we are
Absolutely.
competing in a man's world with our bodies and our thinking, is we are always going
Yeah.
to be in distress.
Yeah, but again, to very mindfully, because we supposedly, if I wasn't feeling well, or if I'm really, my stomach is hurting, the doctor have told me to rest, I would do so, because physical health is something that I know is very important. So similarly, the moment I also start seeing that though there is a lot of competition outside, but my emotional well-being and my mental health is important, I would start taking a stand for that as well, right? I know it's a challenge. It is not that easy. There are very small steps that I can take one at a time, maybe. But can I align myself towards it? Could be one of the ways.
So
that
here
we can
again, I
start.
don't know why I'm remembering so many things, but here again, there is a line that I read the other day that I may have many problems, but if
Yes.
something goes wrong with my health, then I only have one problem. So
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely, Parul, bang on. So similarly, I think when so it says it all.
Right. Thank you.
So okay, there are some questions in the chat box. Let me just see. So Parul, you want to take this? Someone's avoiding conflicts in the workplace and personal life. How would you explain it? Is it going to cause more stress or anger?
stress is something. The second one.
The Naveen Kumar Singh is saying.
Okay, wait. I can't
Yeah.
see this.
Okay, see. Yeah.
Wait, let me just. I'm seeing Babu, I'm seeing Rajshri. Naveen's is.
Okay.
Acha, it's okay. So the ones, should we go?
Okay,
should we-
ऊपर से चलते हैं. ऊपर से let's start from ऊपर से. Yeah.
Simran, can you read it out, please?
Yes, sure. So,
one-
just to give a reference, Mr. Balu Iyer is the regional director of ICA Asian Pacific, and he has been listening to our session.
Oh.
He has thanked both of you for a very helpful session. And the question that he has asked is that, yes, stress is both good and bad, but anger is not the best way to release it. So, in a work environment, what kind of atmosphere do you think helps people cope with stress in a healthy way? So I think he's asking more from the perspective of having an enabling work environment for colleagues.
I think a top down is a good way, wherein is if the leadership is aware and creates that culture of conversation, of dialogue, of expressions, and keeps it safe, then that of course is the most ideal way to have an emotionally aware organization. But we everything is within us. So people change, bosses change, cultures change, but if within us we are able to be emotionally aware, we are able to kind of name our feelings, we take care of our own stress, then irrespective of where we are working at the point in time, we will see a change within ourselves.
Yeah. And what's the next question?
The other
From
question
Rajesh.
from Ms. Rajesh.
Rajeshri.
I don't know if that addresses the question that was asked.
Yes, maybe I'll request Mr. Balu Iyer to, if he can, switch on his mic and engage in a discussion.
Yeah.
So just a quick time check. We have 10 minutes. So, yeah.
Again, thank you very much, Parul and Neelam. This has been very helpful. Your takeaway, I guess, is it's much more within us how we cope with stress and how we vent it out. That's very important, and we need to work on that. But we spend in our working thing half the day or is spent in the workplace. So it's also important that how we create that environment that you said is important. But what more, given the situation, and also these days people work from home. So you don't get all that interaction which you would have earlier been getting in an in-person situation. So work from home also adds a different level of anxiety, stress to the job. So even on that front, it's yes, when you are working in person, you can create an environment, but how do you also get for people who work from home? How do you make sure that their feelings and that environment is created?
See, it's a very long ask. It's very hard. If you see one quality in yourself that you want to change, you will see how hard it is. So to take on the onus or the responsibility of creating a culture is a very big responsibility that a person wants to undertake. Having said that, it's not what we say, it's what we do. Which, when we are raising children, they are able to see very clearly. And same in a workplace. If as a leader, as an influencer in a workplace, I am expressing my anger in a healthy way, when things are not going right, I am finding ways to be more emotionally aware. That says a lot more than actually creating special initiatives, because how much can you control unless you're in that position? Like I said, I started off by saying top down would be ideal, right? If the leadership recognizes, if there's emotional dialogue, there's understanding, there's acceptance, of course that would be so ideal. But people come from different backgrounds, people come from different mind spaces. So like I said, even to change oneself is such a big responsibility. Then how does a person take the responsibility of changing everyone around them, is my response.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We have another question from Miss Rajeshri. She says, I feel that emotional mental wellness is important for both, is important for women as homemakers and those who are working. And it's about self-awareness and knowing that you have a problem with your emotions, how to manage your negative feelings, how to have a plan to deal with it. And Miss Rajeshri is here, so if you want to quickly, elaborate on your question. We are very short on time, but
Yeah. Where is Miss? Oh, here she is. Yeah. Hi.
Good afternoon to all.
Good
I
afternoon.
think that happiness is the state of mind, and wellness is, there are too many aspects involved with the mental wellness. So not necessarily if you are happy, you are emotionally well, or even when you are emotionally well, that you are happy. So just I wanted the view of the trainers, whether this is correlated or it can exist separately in the minds of women or men. Thank you.
So Rajeshri, thank you so much for bringing this up, because, and I think that would be a good way for us to summarize this session also, that emotionally well doesn't mean that you're in a happy state all the time. And when we say emotionally, regulated, what here I would put is that here we are looking at all the emotions as normal emotions, that you could be angry, you could be sad, you could be happy, you could be elated, you could be feeling distressed. So every emotion, whatever we are feeling, it's okay to feel those emotions. When we come to emotional wellness, one mantra is that it's okay to feel what I'm feeling. And again, the next point would be, it's up to me, and I can make a choice of how I express that feeling. So when I give myself that choice, then I don't put my feelings as negative or positive. The expression could be negative or positive, but the feeling is normal. And that would be the state of emotional wellness, which I would say, where I'm accepting all the feelings and telling myself and others that it's okay to feel the way you feel. That would be the definition of emotional wellness.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
thank you. We have one more question in the chat, which is, some people tend to avoid conflicts in their personal life and workplace. Does it cause more stress or anger? How to deal with basically escaping your emotions.
Parul, please take it.
So I think I said somewhere else that if in order to avoid conflict with others, are we starting a conflict with ourselves? So if we are repeatedly seeing something and we think that by ignoring it, by suppressing it, by bottling it up, the situation will get okay, it doesn't really happen because it affects the relationship. In certain ways, it affects our own health in certain other ways. So, this is a question that we have to ask ourselves, that who are we in conflict with? And once you acknowledge that there is a real problem, what your feelings are around that problem, then those feelings will only guide you. Because if you've done so much of inner work, then it's unlikely that you will, like a pressure cooker, suddenly blurt it all out. You will be more contained in how you deal with that conflict. But the main thing is being aware.
We still have last 2 minutes, and I want to quickly check if there is any other question or comment. Okay, maybe the trainers themselves have any last, not last, but your word of advice as a takeaway message.
Here, I would say that, I would just repeat it, that feelings are your roadmaps. So don't, I would say don't suppress them. But yeah, it's not necessarily that you have to address them then and there. Whenever the feeling comes in, do take your time, the appropriate time and place to look at your feelings, because they are your roadmaps. And these roadmaps will actually give you an insight that what action needs to be taken. That is the one thing that I would like to leave you with. Yeah. Barun, would you like to add something?
I would just say that we all are very focused on our physical health, but like how we started off when we said that society is not always kind of indicated to us that emotional health is also important. And we hope, Neelam and I hope that after this workshop, you will start taking care of your emotional health as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much to both Ms. Parul and Ms. Neelam. We have come to the end of our lecture, or you call it a workshop. And before I invite our chairperson for the vote of thanks, I would like to remind that she will be speaking in Japanese. So all the non-Japanese listeners, audience, please switch to the English channel in the interpretation tab so that you don't miss out. And now I would like to invite the chairperson, Ms. Chitosa Arai, for a vote of thanks.
シムリンさん、ありがとうございます。
Much, Ms. Simrin. First of all, let us give a big round of applause to two trainers, so counselors. Thank you very much. Ms. Neelam Agarwal, Ms. Parulkana Parashar, thank you very much for coming to the online seminar on knowledge building for women cooperators. You are so kind and gracious to take your time out of your busy schedule to join us. Stress and anger management. We have had the discussions and role play, and it was an easy to understand session and was very useful for all of us. You can be angry, but you have to listen to your own feelings, and you have to face directly with your own feelings and come to terms with it in order to mitigate the stress. You have to fill your toolbox, and stress management chart was quite useful to me. And through the Q&A session, I listened with much attention because we derived so much and learned so much from these interactions. In every aspect of our life, in order to build a useful relationship, tone of the voice and body language and the words, we have to be mindful that we have to be assertive in our communications. The members of the Committee of the Women have different roles to play. Mental health is so important for the social life and work life, and to maintain a healthy running of organizations. Well, we have gained new perspectives through this session. I would like to see that we can work together to create an environment in which women can fully demonstrate ability in their respective cooperatives. Once again, I would like to thank Ms. Agarwal and Ms. Parashar for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arai. Now I request everyone to please switch on your cameras. We will take a nice group photo. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, from our heart, bottom of our hearts, thank you so much, Ms. Parul and Ms. Neelam. And I would also like to convey our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Parveen from Sleepwell Foundation, India, who facilitated today's session for us. And to other staff members of the foundation, thank you so much for your time and for really insightful thoughts and techniques that you have left us with to lead our lives more positively and stress-free and also anger-free. Thank you so much.
Thank you.